Hi guys, welcome back to VIS Vlogs. Today we have Carol, a new student to VIS, but also a community organizer. But first, Carol, please introduce yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Carol Hung and I'm currently a new student at VIS, and right now I'm in 10th grade and I've been really liking VIS right now.
So we've heard that you have a community organization. It's called Together We Draw. Could you quickly explain what that organization is?
Yeah, sure. So Together We Draw is a community organization where I bring people of all ages to draw, process art while achieving different goals for each age category.
So what do you do in Together We Draw?
So Together We Draw, like I said, is varied into 3 groups. We are towards 3 groups that are elderly, teenagers, and children. So with elderlies, what we do is we guide them to process art, and while doing that, we achieve the 5 love languages to them, because right now the solitary elderly issue is really high right now. And what we also do when we go meet them is that we do our music performances to them. So I have friends who are like part of the orchestra and stuff, and they will go like perform to them. And for teenagers right now, as we know, there are a lot of mental illnesses towards a lot of teenagers, as you guys might know, such as like exams and college and stuff. So with Together We Draw towards teenagers, what we want to do is to like give them some free art therapy. So because drawing is considered one of those art therapy. So I hope like our goal is to like help them achieve some type of stress relief. And for children, typically indigenous children, we will teach them like core subjects such as English, math, and science, all in English, and we will teach them some fundamental topics. And then what we do after is that once we finish teaching them, we will draw with them what we've learned. Yeah.
That sounds really interesting. So you kind of mentioned the 5 love languages in the elderly part. So can you elaborate on that? So what's the story behind this?
Yeah, sure. So Together We Draw started off with being that I am very close with 2 of my grandmothers, and I don't have grandfathers. I only have grandmothers. So and then I recently heard last summer was that solitary elderly, the issue has become very, very big. And I just know a lot of those elderlies are having a very low rate of having the 5 love languages. So the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, acts of service, and quality time. So when we do Together We Draw, what we will do is we will take them into drawing. So when we are drawing with them, we will first achieve quality time because we're spending time with them. And then once we're drawing in, words of affirmation will come through, which is basically when they draw, we can give them words of encouragement, oh, you're actually really good at drawing. Oh, you can do this and stuff. And then physical touch is when we are done with drawing, we can give them hugs, or even a high five would count. And then acts of service is what we're doing, right? And then lastly is receiving gifts. So I've prepared I will give them a sticker that I make for everyone who participates. So that's receiving gifts. So drawing with them basically is taking all the boxes of the 5 love languages.
That's very interesting. And VIS Vlogs, we've recently attended this art activity. It's pretty therapeutic. I have to say so for myself. Another question from me is, what is your role in Together We Draw?
So I am the founder, and right now I am the president. And before, it has kind of just been me, one of my really close friend, and my brother. But right now I am branching it to VIS, so I've actually found a lot of people who are willing to come cooperate with my community organization. And your sister is actually our art head, which is something I'm really happy about because she's really talented. But yeah.
I agree. Is this a club here at VIS now, or is it just an outside organization?
I wouldn't say I would consider it as a club in VIS because everything I've done is actually been organized already. So I know that everyone's schedule is not that flexible. Mm-hmm. So I don't really have club times, but we could have meetings over a call or Zoom or something. So maybe just a branch. Yeah.
A branch of VIS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you talked a lot about, you guys doing the drawings with elderly children. So I was wondering if there was any fun stories that you could share about the community.
Oh, sure. So I remember one of my very earliest drawing, it was like when I went to like a trip to Oman for a tennis competition. And I remember I was just in the lounge, the business lounge. And then my mom was actually like, look at those two couples, like why not like draw with them? So like I actually did, and then like I drew with them. And like I think the funny thing was like in the beginning they were very like hesitant and very shy about it. Like they weren't really like loving, I could say. Well, I can't say that for myself, but at the end, like after like whilst like the process, they were like becoming very like, I could like see their form of love. So I think that was like a really good way. And another thing that I do like experience a lot is that with elderlies or with like children, it's that like the first time I ask them to draw, they'll be like, oh, I can't draw, like I'm not good at it, you don't want me. But then like I'm not a good drawer myself, so like it's very ironic that I created this club. But I see a lot of elderlies and children being hesitant to participate, but then like in the end, once they see their peers doing it, the ones who are hesitant, they're like the ones who participate in the most, and they're the ones that like won't stop drawing. So I think that's really fun.
That's very interesting. You've talked a little bit about your story and your inspiration behind this. It sounds like you were inspired by the growing problem of solidarity in the elderly. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering if you solely focused on the elderly in the beginning and then branched out to, like you said, teenagers, or how were you about doing that?
You were like right on spot. So in the beginning, it was just for elderlies, but then a lot of my friends, they were like really intrigued with it. So then I was like, why not like branch it out to teenagers like you guys? Because I think it's also a really good way to like have some time together. But honestly, I would not express the 5 love languages to you guys, because you guys will probably think it's too like clingy and stuff. So I made like a statement saying like for teenagers it would be to like have stress reliefs and stuff. Yeah.
And it was really stress relieving. I don't know. I found it really nice.
Yeah, it looked really fun actually.
So how do you think this kind of activity like helps people? Have you actually seen like their reaction from this? Like you've mentioned how you can see like their forms of love throughout this activity. Like that's really interesting to me. Could you describe that a little more?
Yeah, sure. So I remember like one of my trips with elderlies, and I did not know them, of course. And then they all situated in like a table, like a round table together. And then like in the beginning, they were all very like mean to each other, I could say. But then at the end, they did cooperate, and the staffs there actually told me like, oh, those two people who sat next to each other, they're actually enemies. Like they dislike each other. But then through this like drawing thing, they had to like cooperate together to like draw different pieces. And I think that was really good, because I could say like I bonded their friendship, but I don't know if they're still communicating right now. But as of that moment, they were like really happy together. So that's like something I would like to see like further. So that's why I want to like do this more often. Yeah.
That's very wholesome.
So you talked about like the enemies together being able to draw. So I was wondering if there was like actually any kind of like similar challenges you face like through this process.
Oh, of course. So with children, it's like they're very like, they won't listen to you that much. So like I understand teachers now, because when I was drawing with them, like I remember one of my first drawings was like with children, and then those children were actually like, we already knew each other before, but they were still very like naughty and like really like arrogant with drawing. So like I remember I was like, oh, remember like don't color in like the drawings you made, and they did that. And then I remember like, because then that somehow it did kind of ruin the drawing, and they figured it out themselves. And they were like, oh, this is so ugly. Like, what, bro? Like, they were like, your example was so much better. Like, this is so ugly. And I like, it was like a challenge at first, because that time it was just like the beginning of the organization. So I didn't really know how to handle it that much. So I was also like very like frantic and very like nervous myself. But like, I think like after, because right now I've done 23 drawings, I believe. So I think like I build on experience. So I think that's really good. Yeah.
That's very nice to hear. That's pretty funny to hear. And one last question: where can we find you? Where can we find this program?
Oh yeah, sure. So I have Instagram right now, and the name is actually just Together We Draw, and my email is also the same, tgtwedrawat@gmail.com. And anyone who's interested, you guys can just like call me and contact me if you want to like help draw, because my main goal is to collect 100 artwork and then have an art exhibition and then donate the money to solitary elderly. So
that's a cool goal.
Okay. And you guys are one of it too, so
let's go. I really recommend this experience. And well, that'll be all for our time today. Thank you for tuning in to this podcast. And if you're wondering about any more details of the student life in experimental high school, please check out our channel at VIS Vlogs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.